Everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's watching and listening right now in the podcast. It is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. I'm going to speak to you guys about this breaking news that has been on the news, since earlier today, because it's a very shocking thing that's going on. And this is in regards to the host of the Today Show, NBC Today's show, Savannah Guthrie. Apparently, they're saying that her 84-year-old mom, got kidnapped from their house. And they're looking for her. I mean, they have even the FBI involved already. This is very crazy. This is very shocking. We pray for her safe return. So I'm going to give you details of what's going on right now. And I believe this happened in Arizona. So I'm going to give you more details about that. Before I continue, guys, thank you so much for listening using Spotify and watching this video on Spotify. You can go ahead and leave me a comment there. You can rate the podcast there too. And also, if you're listening using Apple Podcasts, thank you guys so much for doing that. I see the audience is growing on Apple Podcasts. It really helps me as a creator. Thank you so much for listening. Feel free to leave a comment. You can email me, JulissaDesigns.com. And of course, thank you so much to everybody who is watching this video and listening to this podcast right now on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for subscribing and sharing. So this news, to be honest, is those type of things that you kind of like, wait, is this real? Like, is this really happening to her? Like what? So it says here that Savannah Guthrie's mother was possibly kidnapped in the middle of the night from her house. What a nightmare, you guys. How is this even possible? Where is the security? Was she living by herself? How can nobody knows anything, right? How can they not find her yet? So I'm gonna read to you guys here. Police are sharing more information about what might have happened to Savannah Guthrie's mother, who was reportedly missing over the weekend. That is a nightmare in itself. To have a parent missing, that is a nightmare. She's 84 years old, Nancy Guthrie. 84 years old, was reportedly missing. I believe it was early on Saturday. And then now they're saying she was actually kidnapped. That's crazy, you guys. So it says here Nancy Guthrie, 84, was last seen at her house in Catalina Foothills, north of Tucson, Arizona, around 9:30 p.m. local time on Saturday, January 31st. 2 days later, the Pima County Sheriff Department confirmed that Nancy's home is being investigated as a crime scene, and rather than a search mission. Pima County Sheriff said in a statement that they believe a crime has been committed. At this point, investigators believe she was taken from her house against her will, possible in the middle of the night. Taken against her will includes possible kidnapping or abduction, okay? And this is terrifying for anybody who goes through something like this. And I really, you think about it, wait, she is the mother of a very famous TV personality here in the US. So is this been happening because of they need a ransom, or like what's going on? And if they were able to accomplish something like this, it tells you that it was planned probably for a while, right? Her move were being she was probably being followed. Her move, who comes in and out of her house, was being tracked, and they probably waited for an open window for this to happen. But we have to keep the family in your prayers. We have to keep Nancy in your prayers. To be awake in the middle of the night by an intruder and then be taken away from your house, that is a nightmare in on itself, right? So we gotta keep her in your prayers, guys. We hope that she's returned quickly, safe. Okay, I cannot imagine what um Savannah is going through her now, and her siblings, and everybody in her family. This is very heartbreaking. Let me continue to read. We have an 84-year-old woman who went to bed on Saturday night and come Sunday morning and she was not there, the police said in an interview on Monday. We know, at least we believe, um, that she now walked out of that home on her own, right? So when they reported her missing, they were saying, she's 84 years old, maybe she has some dementia or, some type of memory condition. They're saying, no, she's really good. She doesn't have any of that stuff. She just has probably some physical impairment, but she's very well sound. She has her memory is not being affected by by her age or nothing like this, no dementia, nothing like that, thanks God. So, you know, when you hear about an 84-year-old missing, you immediately think of something like that. Maybe it's a memory concern, maybe, and especially with dementia, it tends to happen, especially people of age, tends to happen very suddenly for a lot of the patients. So that was like the first thing they said, but they're saying no, she was actually adopted from her home in the middle of the night. So very shocking, you guys. And it says here that Nancy's physical mobility was quite limited for a variety of reasons, and that is highly unlikely that she wandered off. And they say, this is the police saying, she's really just as sharp as a tack. And that too is concerning that here you have this lady who got all her wits about her. She knows what's going on. So yeah, somebody came into the home and I believe took her out of there without her permission. And it was against her will. And they say that what we have done is we have taken what we believe to be biological DNA type evidence and we are now submitting it to the labs, to the crime lab. So they have found some type of, I guess you can say, evidence that they send already to the labs. So hopefully something will come out of that. And they're gonna do a rapid search, it says here. It says here, in a press conference earlier today, they say that her disappearance was reported yesterday, February the 1st, when a friend noticed that she was not at church and called one of her adult children. So apparently she lived on her own, right? And thanks be to God for those friends like that who immediately were like, she's always here. She's always here in church. And I don't see her. I know she lives on her own. Like, let me call her family and see what's going on, right? So they noticed that she didn't go to church and they called one of her adult children. And it says here that Savannah, 54, was absent from the Today show today, obviously, for very obvious reason, right? That's her daughter. And the co-host, Craig Melvin, said, we want to get right to the what is deeply personal story for us. Nancy Guthrie, Savannah's beloved mother, has been reported missing in Arizona. In a statement to the show, Savannah said, on behalf of our family, I wanted to thank everyone for the thoughts and prayers and messages of support. Right now, our focus remains on the safe return of our dear mom. We thank we thank law enforcement for the hard work on this case and encourage everyone with information to contact the Pima County Sheriff Department, and the phone number is 520-351-4900. So yeah, very sad, you guys. This is, like I said, when I first saw this, I'm like, wait a second, is this really happening? Um, you know, years ago, there was a case out of Mexico that it was two actresses, very famous actresses, got kidnapped, right? But they were not. They were very like I don't know what age, maybe in their 50s, right? And they were held captive for some time. But this type of adoption, like, is very rare when it comes to the U.S. It's just my opinion. Following news and cases like this, it's very rare because normally it doesn't. You know, normally it doesn't happen like that, or maybe I haven't heard about it in a while. You hear about somebody being this is very specific. That's what I'm trying to say. For somebody like her to be kidnapped at the middle of the night, this is very specific. I'm very surprised that they haven't found any connection yet, any kind of ransom note or anything like that, right? We really hope that that she's returned safe, and whoever saw anything will come forward and speak up. I mean, how can nobody hear no screaming, no car, no weird headlights going around like late at night, strange noises, even like for them to accomplish something like this, somebody was watching her moves. That's so obvious, right? To show up in the middle of the night randomly doing that, somebody knows probably who she was and probably who her daughter was, right? I'm talking because how famous the daughter is, right? And hopefully, somebody will come forward in that neighborhood and speak up some weird, strange car just parking and roaming through the street late at night, or just a, strange behavior. Also, surprisingly, there's no um, surveillance cameras. I mean, it looks like she was living by herself. There's no surveillance camera video, so it's just very strange. We really hope that she's found safe, and we pray for the peace of the family right now. I'm gonna see what some of the people are saying here in the comments. Prayer for her and for the family. Somebody said this story just makes me sick to my stomach. Excuse me. And then somebody said, I don't understand why somebody or some people would do such a thing to a lovely older woman. Could there be a connection to Savannah? And that's what I'm thinking. If not, a random act like this is so frightening. Did she have an alarm system? Was it disabled by the intruder? This is so disturbing. And what I was just thinking just now too? I told you guys not long ago about these delivery people, right? And I don't know why I'm thinking that just now. Thinking about the delivery people that they go crazy if you don't tip the right amount, or if you leave a bad review because you didn't like something. Like, you have to be so careful because now they now know where you live, right? And they probably know that there was only one car parked there. Maybe you're by yourself or things like this, right? So those are the things that we have to be careful now. But in this case specifically, it's very surprising, in my opinion, that an 84-year-old a woman most likely was living by herself, right? And there was no cameras, right? They haven't mentioned the cameras us, but I'm just assuming because the police would have had some type of video already, right? Or like some type of sketch or somebody, or they might say, they came over and disconnected the camera or put tape over it, the ring camera. Or like they also say that she was very sharp in her mind, she's very sharp in her mind, excuse me, and her physical mobility was a little impaired, right? She's 84 years old. Even so, like, the cameras should be more needed at that point, right? I know a lot of people as they get older, they don't want to deal with cameras, right? They feel like it's an intrusion to their privacy, and they feel like they're gonna be fine, right? So, like I said, we really hope that she's found safe. I cannot imagine what they're going through right now. I'm trying to see what else people are saying here. Could she have been taken with the intent of demanding ransom? So somebody said this is very sickening. And what could it be the possible motive, right? What is the motive? I feel like this is such a unique, a specific targeted case. And because we don't know more details, like your mind can really go and like assume a lot, and that is the worst thing that you can do. But the way that she was taken like that, it has to be somebody who probably knew there was no alarm, no cameras, and probably no other person living with her. I mean, that's just the obvious, right? Like, you're not concerned, like they were not concerned about cameras. They were not concerned about an alarm going off. They were not concerned about another person living with her. whoever did this knows more, knows a lot of information about that lady. So let me know, guys, what you think about this. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to the channel. Thank you to everybody who's watching and listening to the podcast. Have a good day. God bless. So, yes.